and we are back in my 125-year-old gold mine. So we're reopening. We've been drilling, blasting, mucking, getting a lot of good ore out of here. On the last video, we've just done a blast. So now the hard part begins, where we got to start mucking, getting everything out of the stope, down the raise, through the haulageway, and into the truck, down to the mill, so we can get the gold out of it. Here's our sandbag pile. I estimated there's about between 200 and 250 sandbags here, which is about 5 to 6 tons. Well, since we're on camera, we gotta make it look good. Now, begins the real work.
Yeah, now comes the fun part.
It's such a weird feeling to be in this mine and to be able to use this same track that the old miners put in. They used it, they moved muck with it, and now 100 years later we're doing the exact same thing on the exact same track. It's a real unique feeling, like being part of history. I'm writing a new chapter for the mine. Mine operators here helping me, and we're all just kind of continuing the story, and it's a really unique situation to be able to open this underground mine and have it produce again. We can get our bags to about there on the old track. Got about a 10-foot walk and a chute. We got a sandbag hung up there now, but the chute goes down right to our transferway, and then we have another little rail system over to our raise. All right, Harry's gonna bring a bag over from the cart. We got a little slit in our netting here. There we go, right down to the bottom where Chad's at. Right down here where we can load it.
Getting the gold out of the mine.
Getting the gold out of the mine, one bag at a time.
Loving it.
And this is about another 100 to 125 foot little transfer here. See if I can get out of the way enough. So here he comes. The bags are going to the top of the raise.
Oh yeah. Now we got to get him down there.
Well, you may be asking yourself, what's this huge fender buoy doing underground? And we are going to try a new system where we cut a hole in that thing and use it as a skip bucket to send the sandbags down, because the sandbags have been breaking and wearing, sliding down to 50 feet of chute. We got our hole cut out. We cut less than more, I think, for our first try here. But we're going to put a sandbag in there. Can we get a sandbag in there? How does that work?
There you go.
Okay. This is goofy, but man, it might work really, really well. Yeah! Well, look at there. It made it down just fine. Sandbag is safe and secure. Made it through the little tight spot now that we got a hole cut in it. Well, Harry's getting real ambitious now that he's got a new cart with casters. So he's going to load 10 on that. And he said, well, hey, I've got another cart. So he's got 10 loaded on the other cart. He's going to try and push them like a train. So Harry's going to attempt the impossible here and push 20 bags down the rail to our first little ore drop.
It's that one spot. Now you pass that.
Oh, there he goes. I better get in front of you, huh?
Yeah.
All right, the mission is don't go off the end of the rail here. We are at the top of our raise now. We've got bags stacked. Chad's been working like crazy stacking all these bags.
Trying to keep up with these guys. They keep feeding me bags.
Yeah, I'm surprised you kept up with us. All right, and this is our system for getting bags down the chute. It looks a little Willy Wonka, but it works really well for us. All right, Chad, show them how it works.
All right, let's see. Can we clear below? All right.
A buoy.
A buoy. What an idea.
Yeah, it works great. We were having problems with when you're just tying the bag onto the rope. It was coming down too hard and breaking the bags. So now we have the buoy, cut a hole in it. We can load a bag in there.
All right, now make sure rope is not around my feet.
Yeah. There we go.
Touchdown.
Buoy's at the bottom.
All right, 84 more to go.
84 more to go.
83 actually.
And then 175. So we're a little ways down our raise. We've got our manway on this side. You see Chad's light up there on the deck. I'm looking over into our chute side. All right, Chad, when you're ready. Now we're at the bottom of the chute here. The buoy comes down, hits those tires for a little cushion. This is right where our track starts and another cart. So 3 carts, 3 transfers, about 1,000 feet, and it ends up in the truck. What do you say, Harry?
I like this.
You guys are always smiling. I don't know what I can do if it makes you guys not smile, but so far every job I've given, you're always smiling.
We've had people tell us they didn't believe us, but we really like this all the time.
This is the fun stuff for you, huh?
If we're not happy and upset, something's really wrong.
All right, here comes the bag.
Touchdown. Okay, up.
Right on the cart. And up goes the buoy. Hundreds of times. We'll do this hundreds of times. The last 100 feet, you want to kill yourself. It's horrible. There's two big sweeping turns that you got to get through. It's horrible. Your arms are burning, your legs are burning. And this one's for my buddy Jeff. Who needs a gym? Just be a gold miner. Now when the truck's already loaded, we just stage our bags right here in the blacksmith shop. When we got an empty truck, we load them all in the truck and take them down the hill. Well, I wanted to show you our progress here between this stuff behind me, and then we've also got some stuff over on this side. We've got 86 bags down, and it took us a little over 2 hours. So that's right around 2 hours for 2 tons. So we're doing about 1 ton an hour. And that's all the way from the stope, all the way down to the blacksmith shop. I'm pretty impressed with that. Mine operator is killing it, and we are really moving the muck today. Well, Harry says we're getting low on bags up here, so I thought I better come take a look. Oh, we got lots of bags still.
This is not a lot of bags.
Oh, we just moved another 100 down to the top of the raise.
Yeah, we're a little out of breath right now.
Yeah, we've moved 186 bags so far. 86 of them all the way to the blacksmith shop. 100 more to the top of the raise. Now we got to get those down the raise into the blacksmith shop. I've been dreaming about moving this waste pile too somewhere. I wasn't going to tell you guys, but
Well, if we get done with all the bags, we can move the waste pile, huh?
yeah.
Oh, you mean there's more work to do?
Always more work to do. I'll always find something to do.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go get these 100 bags down the raise.
I like it. Sounds good.
And for you guys watching at home, you're going to see us move 186 bags in about 3 or 4 minutes probably. But we've been doing this all day long. This is hours and hours and hours of work for us. And I just can't believe that these two are still smiling. They love it. They love every bag. Every bag is a new, exciting adventure for them. So I really appreciate mine operator, and I appreciate you guys watching at home, because this is a lot of work, and I'm glad somebody's getting some enjoyment out of it. We are at the top of our raise. We have 100 bags stacked here, and we'll see if Harry can even make it over the hole. We've got a cart with 10 back there, and I just left a little breather hole so we could sneak our way through. Now it's going to be my turn to do the buoy work, and the other two guys are going to be at the bottom of the raise, way down there, doing the cart pushing. When it finally clears up and you got some snow-capped peaks, it's not a bad view from the mine portal. Well, it's the next morning here. We have mucked over 150 bags down to the blacksmith shop portal here. And I don't know about you two, but I feel like I was hit by a train last night. I'm really sore. Chad, how you feeling?
I'm sore, the hands are sore, but we're gonna get more out today.
Yeah, we still got a lot more bags. Harry, how you feeling?
I'm pretty tired, dude. I think everything hurts.
Everything hurts. Yeah, everything hurts.
That's perfect, because now there's nothing that's gonna be worse tomorrow than that doesn't already hurt now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, can't get any worse than it is.
Yeah, can't get any worse.
That's a good way to think of it. That's a good way. And we still got over 100 bags up top, don't we? That we got to get out of the stove.
Yeah.
So we've got some work still to do, but we're gonna get some bags in the truck today and down to the mill. Here's the last handling of the sandbags before they get to the mill. This is taking them from the blacksmith shop into the back of the truck. You can fit about 35 to 40 bags in the truck on a pallet, and then we take them down and put them in the mill. We just counted, this is the 10th time we've handled these bags. We've handled them 10 times to get them to here.
I don't know if I'd advertise that.
I know.
So, for all those CrossFitters out there, this is the ultimate workout right here.
This is the ultimate workout.
Yeah,
so really,
who needs a gym?
if we get 10 tons down this season, we'll have moved 100 tons worth of rock.
Yeah.
Craziness. We're at the bottom of the raise. We have all the bags mucked out of the stope. We have about 100 in the blacksmith shop, and there's 155 here that we need to take out to the blacksmith shop. So I have a little over 250 bags, and I've got to haul down to the mill. Well, I just got some sad news the other day I wanted to share with you. I lost a good friend of mine, passed away here last week, and he was a great geo. He actually got me my first job working underground in the gold mining industry. And so I just wanted to say, thanks Lane for everything you did for me. And getting this mine up and running again was something that he always had dreams of ever since the 80s. And we spent a long time talking about it, how we'd work it. And so now that I'm in here working it, I was kind of hoping I'd get to talk to him at the end of the season and let him know how it went and everything that happened, and I missed my chance just by a few months. So I just wanted to dedicate this video to Lane and this mining season as well. Thanks again for everything you taught me, Lane. I brought up the big F550 flatbed here. I got 4 pallets. I think I can fit about 40 bags a pallet. Let's see if this thing can get 4 tons down the mountain. I got 10 bags on my pile. Now I got to go down the ladder and take each one and put it on the truck. Whoa, well, we got that side cleaned off. Got the first row pretty much taken care of. I've got 80 bags out in the truck here. I'll show you. You can see down there I've got 2 full pallets. This is a lot of work. If you guys have any suggestions about how to do this better, leave me a comment down below, because I Would really like to not do this again next year. Well, that's everything. 152 sacks. I got them all loaded up. The shop's empty. And at 45 pounds average a sack, there's about 6,800 pounds on here. That's a little less than 3.5 tons. There's still a ton of work to do, a lot more videos coming. We've got a lot of gold to get out of this stuff. I've got some specimens to slab up. I've got some pieces I want to cut up and see what they look like. I want to identify where the gold is. I want to smelt some. I want to crush some. So stay tuned for all those videos. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I cannot stay away from my gold mine. There's gold in the face in here. I left it. I was thinking I'd come back next year. We're going to find some nice gold specimens today. I'm going to go high grade my mine. I'm going to take the stuff down, mill it up, smelt it down, and see how much high grade gold we can get. I'm going to be working this area right behind me, but there's some really, really nice high grade stuff here in a couple bands right across the hanging wall there. And this is what I'm talking about right here, these silvery bands right along here. I've talked about this a lot in my other videos, but this is right where the gold hangs out, right about right here. And you can see there's a piece of gold right there at my fingertip. Right there. Nice little piece of gold just sitting there looking at you. And so I'm going to focus right here on these strips today. Knock it out, just chisel it out, and we'll check on the faces, see how much gold we can find. Ooh, good stuff right off the bat. Oh yeah. Sometimes you need a little more power. Oh, there's just gold. There's gold all over up there. There's a really nice piece of gold right there. It's a little bit dirty, but it's sticking out from the quartz real nice. I don't know if I can get it off of there or not without breaking it. Well, I got my first half a pan's worth. I'm going to wash some of these bigger pieces off and check them for gold. I think quite a few of them have gold. I saw some going into the pan. And then once I get the big ones checked, all the fines will just go in a bag, and that's what we'll take down and crush. This one's kind of cool. It's got a piece of gold right there by my thumb, sitting out there in the middle of the quartz, sticking up off the face. That is cool. Sticking right out of the quartz. Well, I got that first little piece off, and man, it is so loaded with gold. There's one side. Look on this side. Big old chunk of gold. More gold up here. This is a super, super rich little piece. It's just, I mean, there's just so much gold. It's just gold everywhere. More gold in the face, too. Well, I've had about as much fun as I can have today. Man, that's a lot of work. I've got maybe a third to half a bag. Really, really good stuff. I'm really excited about it. Got some really good specimens I found. So let's take this stuff down to the shop. We'll get it crushed up. We'll look for specimens. We'll get the microscope out. And we'll see how much gold we can find. Well, we're back down at the shop. I've got my bag of goodies here, and this is the exciting part. We get to get the gold out of this ore. The first thing I'm going to do is screen out the fines and pick through the larger pieces and look for specimens. We'll wash them. We'll take a look. We'll use a 1/2-inch screen here. So a lot of it's going to be Oh, there's some good looking stuff in there. Man, oh man. And there's the 1/2-inch undersize. That's just too small to look for samples probably. And we'll just run that through the crusher. We're going to take some of our bigger pieces, cut them up through this tile saw. This is just a used tile saw I got off Craigslist. I cut about 8 rocks, and 5 of them had some really nice gold in them, so I saved those out. I'll give you a look here at the stuff I'm finding. See there? Nice gold in that one. Both sides. So that's a really nice specimen there. There's a big chunk there right in the saw cut. It broke right on that piece of gold. And then this guy has probably the most character. The bands, there's that silver mineral we're always looking for. Smaller pieces of gold on both faces. All around there. Here's what the rough side looks like. So we got some really nice specimens. So here's what I want to do. I'm just going to grab handfuls of this rough stuff, the 1/2 inch plus. I'm going to weigh out 1 pound bags and put them on eBay. I think I'll do 5 of them, and that way you guys can have something to play with, look through for specimens, cut your own pieces, make cabochons, whatever you want to do. And I just grabbed out some stuff. Weighs a little over 1 pound. So here's the 5 gold cuts that I slabbed in my saw. And I've got 7 bags of 1 pound plus high grade. There's some really good stuff in here. Well, now let's get to the fun part. This is a little 5 by 6 inch jaw crusher. We're gonna run the coarse stuff down through the crusher, crush it to about 1/4 inch minus. Comes out in that tray there at the bottom, and we'll run it through the pulverizer and get it to powder. Now we'll pulverize the fines through this little disc mill. This is kind of a cool little machine. It's got a stationary disc here. You feed the material in, comes out the middle here. This disc rotates, and you set them so there's a little tiny gap between the two. When the material can get crushed up small enough to come out that gap, it'll fall down into the trash can lid. It's my patent pending little catch basin here. And then we'll catch all that fine stuff and we can pan it out. Comes out pretty good. There's a few little coarser pieces in there. That thing's kind of on its last legs, but it does the job good enough for us. So now we'll take this over and pan it out, get some gold. Here's our 2 buckets of material. I've got that weighed out at 10.7 pounds. So now I'm going to take my pan it down to concentrates, and then we'll work our way through all the way to a gold button. But I've got something I've been working on behind the scenes here that I'm really excited to show you. So let's work through this, but then I'll take you over to the rock shop and show you what I've been working on. Well, this is interesting. I've panned down all 10.7 pounds, and right up here is a really nice pile of gold, but it's all super coarse stuff. It's when it goes through that disc mill, it winds up the bigger pieces into little pieces of wire. And so I have a bunch of little gold wires and gold balls and stuff, which is a little bit unusual because a lot of times I'll get about half and half really fine stuff and half coarse stuff, but this is mostly coarse. I'm going to use my old snuffer bottle trick here. So I'm going to go along and suck up as much clean gold as I can get. Now I've got all my gold in my snuffer bottle. I'll pull the straw out, and I can get all the gold and heavy stuff down to the tip there, and then I'm just going to leak it right in the center of this blue shop towel thing. Gold there. Let me get the rest of it out of here. I'll add just a little bit of bismuth metal right on top of our gold pile there. All right, I got my little gold packet here. I'm going to try and add the bismuth on top once it burns off. So that rag is going to burn off of there. And I'll add our bismuth right on top. That bismuth will melt, alloy with all the gold and silver and any base metals in there. And as it oxidizes in the oxygen-rich environment, the base metal oxides get absorbed into the cupel, leaving just the precious metals. I'm going to try something else. I've got a bunch of these sulfides in here, and I'm going to try and put those in a cupel as well. There's still some gold in there, not very much. I mean, I got most of it out, but there's still some, and I want to see if I can try and get this cleaned up by just doing the same thing I did with the gold, but with some of these sulfides. Here's our sulfide stuff. You can do the same thing, just put a chunk of bismuth on them, like that. Put it in the cupel in the furnace and see what happens. Well, here's what I've been working on in the background here. This is one of the larger pieces of ore from the mine, and I've got it cut into a nice, really cool pedestal here. I'll get it cleaned up and show you, but I'm pretty excited about it. And here it is all cleaned up. Man, I'm really happy with it. It's a stand-up, I guess, and I've been experimenting. I really like this, like a corner at one side that's all rough, and then you got all these nice smooth flat sides with really nice pyrrhotite showing, and then the white quartz. It's a really cool piece. We'll have a look at our bead here. It is done. And it is huge. Look at that monster. Holy cow. From 10 pounds. Let's see if I can get this guy out of here. Tweezers are too small. Cool it off. Oh, it's a beauty. Look at that guy. Woo! Very nice bead. Well, let's have a look here. I'm a very bad judge of this. It looks like between 2 and 3 grams to me. 3.5. Wow. 3.4 grams from 10.7 pounds. Oh man, let's do some math. All right, 10.7 pounds is 0.00535 short tons. Grams divided by tons equals 638 grams a ton. For you ounce guys, that's 20.5 troy ounces per ton. That is some rich stuff, and a very nice gold button. Let's have a look here at our sulfide stuff. I think it actually worked pretty well. Hey, there's a little bead there. It sat there for a long time with this big crust on top, and then once the crust, I don't know, broke through or started oxidizing or whatever, then it just went all the way down to a bead. So let's get this thing weighed. It's still molten. See if we can get it to blick over. There it goes. That was nice. Okay, we'll get it cooled off. Nice little bead. And we got an additional 0.4 grams. So it's that 10-12% more by doing the cons. So that turned out pretty good. So that brings us up almost to about 4 grams actually. So now we're just under 4 grams of gold out of 10 pounds. Behind me are hundreds of bags of gold ore that I pulled out of my gold mine this last fall. So what I've done is I've taken a bag from each one of these pallets, and I'm going to go through and grab a sample from each bag, and that's going to help us determine kind of an average value of how much gold I might have in my ore. I've been selling these bags on eBay, so if you want to try your hand at one of these bags and see how much gold you can get, you can check out our eBay listings. And so for today's video, I'm going to show you how I would process some of this stuff and get the gold out. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to screen it to 1 inch minus. This is going to get all the fines through that I don't have to look for specimens in, and it'll leave all the coarse stuff right on top.
if you do this, you might want to make it a little bit finer. There's still some pretty good chunks in there that might have gold, so you might want to maybe go to 1/2 inch. But right now we'll start with 1 inch. See if we can find any gold in the coarse stuff. And I'm looking around these sulfides here. There's some gray stuff in there. If I can find that stuff, that usually gives me a pretty good idea. And you can take these and actually break them up further if you wanted to. Take a look at some of the fresh faces. Well, I've been looking that long, and there's a little tiny piece right here. There's a couple little pieces right over here. So we found our first gold specimens. I'm gonna set this rock out and we're gonna cut it up a little later and see if we can find some more gold in it. Here's another little piece right here with some gold on it. So we're finding it. There's 2 pieces now. I've gone through, I don't know, a dozen rocks. Found a couple little specimens with gold on it. We'll put him aside as well. I've washed all of our 1 inch and coarser stuff. And this is the stuff I didn't see any gold in. What you really want to do is take a scrub brush and brush off some of the dirt and stuff that I didn't get to, but this water is really cold. I don't have gloves. So we're gonna crush this stuff down. Here's some waste I pulled out. This just doesn't have anything in it. You might wanna play with it a little bit or crush it down separately, see if there's any values in there. But I pulled that out, and then I've got our 2 pieces here that show gold on them. So now let's go take a look at our fine stuff, and we'll run it all through the crusher. We're gonna start here with this little 4x6 laboratory jaw crusher. Feed the rocks down the jaws. And they come out in this tray here, crushed, and then we'll run them through the fine crusher. Here's a look at our stuff through the pulverizer. Now, a lot of the gold has been liberated now. It's been broken away from the quartz. So now we can pan it out. It's gonna take me 2 or 3 pans to get all this stuff panned out. But now I'm gonna work this down, pan it down until only the densest stuff is left. We'll see what we got. I've got everything panned out now. The black stuff is the iron heavies. Everything yellow in here is gold. And there's not as much fine gold as I thought, but the trick to hard rock gold is to crush it really, really fine. The finer you can crush it, the more you can liberate. But we've got some really nice pieces here. I mean, that's a picker. I just picked that one right up out of the pan. And they get kind of rolled up in the disc mill. Here's one that didn't, another picker. That's a really nice little piece right there. I wish I would have found him in the rock. That would have been a really nice specimen. I'm gonna take my snuffer bottle. I'm just gonna go along and get as much gold as I can. I'll do that a couple times so I can get all the value out of this I can. I got all my gold in the snuffer bottle now. I'm gonna pull out my straw, cap the end with my finger, and shake all of our goodies right down to the very tip here. And then I can get them out in this little blue shop towel thing. And we'll be left with our little gold packet at the bottom. We'll open our furnace. Cupel's heating up there. I'm going to take our little gold packet, put it in our cupel, put some bismuth right on top. The bismuth is going to alloy with the gold and silver. As it gets up to temperature and liquefies, the bismuth will oxidize, absorb into the cupel, and leave a precious metal button in the cupel when it's all done. Well, I wanted to switch gears here a little bit. I've brought some of the coarse pieces over to the rock shop, and I want to get these cut up. I really, really like cutting them into those pillars that I've done in the past. This is really a fun part for me because I don't really have an idea of what this is going to turn into. And as I start cutting on it and looking at it, the rock tells me what it wants to be. So it's kind of a cool thing. But for this one, I think we'll get 2 different pieces out of it. Well, here's our first piece. Oh, good looking stuff there. This will be cool as a little stand up. All right, here's a look at our first stand up here. Oh yeah, let me get it cleaned up a little bit and in the light so we can see it. And here it is in the sunlight. Man, that is cool. So I've got 2 cut faces, a base, and then I really like leaving a couple sides natural rough like that, so you can kind of see the original look of it. But man, that is cool. That is so neat. I've been cutting some really cool stuff. I really like the look of a lot of this stuff. Some slabs, some stand-ups. I've got some smooth faces. I've got some rough faces. Really cool stuff. But what I'm most excited about, I've been saving these 2 rocks in particular. I think I can fit them in my saw. But they've got, this one has this really nice band. I think this is right where the gold is. I think there might even be a piece of gold right there, actually. And right there, too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this one in the saw and slab it across this vein and see if we can get a really nice, juicy couple of faces on this one. This one I've been excited about because here's the hanging wall. Very well-defined wall. There's that band of sulfides coming right across. So same thing, I'm going to slab this one. Instead of going across the mineralization this way, I'm going to try and slab it this way and see if we can get some really nice sulfide showing and maybe a little bit of gold. Okay, I've got it chucked up. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to give it a shot. I've been whittling through that big piece with the streaks in it that I liked. And the first couple here didn't have any gold in it, but I've been cutting these kind of cabochon blanks, I guess. They're about 1/4 inch or 5/16 thick. They've got some really beautiful pyrrhotite in them, that iron sulfide that I have. And then here about number 5 or 6, I started getting into a little bit of gold I wanted to show you. A little bit here. I was finding some down along here. There's a little piece. And as I started getting further and further into the piece, the gold kept getting better and better once we started getting up to the spot where I saw those bands. There's some right up in here. See, there's some of that free gold, some more over here. Well, here's a couple pieces of rail I drug out from the mine this year. And what I'd like to do is get this stuff cut up into about 6-inch pieces. I've got some spikes as well. Figure a piece of rail, a spike, and a piece of ore would be a nice little package for someone. Let me show you how this works. Got a nice little stack of them going there. And here's what I'm thinking for this rail. So we got our piece of rail, we got a spike, and then we can get a nice piece of gold ore. Some of these will have gold in them. There's some gold right here on the face. But wouldn't that look cool? Just on your little museum shelf there. Here's another one. This one has a lot more sulfides in it. This one's pretty cool, but there's quite a bit of gold right in here. Kind of speckled throughout the sulfides on this one. And these are just cut flat faces, rough on the outside. Here's another option. Might throw in a few of these where they're slabs, cut both faces so they can stand up there. Well, let's take a look at our bead here. It's all finished up. I'm going to pull it out. Nice little gold bead there. Nice one. Very cool. Let's get it cooled off and we'll weigh it. Our bead's cooled down a little bit. Take a look here. That is a very, very nice little bead there. Nice gold color. Let's get it weighed, see how much gold we got. Okay. total comes to 0.42 grams out of 7 kilograms, or about 15 pounds. And here's our math. We have our grams of gold divided by 0.007 metric tons. It gives us 59.6 grams per ton, or almost 2 troy ounces per ton. Unbelievably rich. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support me and support my mining efforts, I've got all this stuff listed on eBay. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes like, oh man, he's sold out. Now he's just selling all this stuff on eBay. But the truth is, I've got to pay for the mining somehow. The whole point of mining was to go up there and get some gold and get some ore. I've got bags of fine ore. I've got bags of coarse ore if you want to crush some stuff. I've got a ton of stuff that I've cut. A lot of it has gold in it. I got the rail stuff. And all the money that comes from this stuff is going right back in the hole next year. I also have a Patreon page. You can check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. So thanks everybody for all your support over the years. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next video.